Are you struggling with having your product stand out from the rest of the competition on Amazon? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can take a pretty boring image like this that doesn't really tell me much about the product itself from just the image and merchandise it really, really well, and using a simple but very powerful tool, which is Canva, to make that happen. If that's interesting to you, you're going to want to keep on watching this. Okay, guys, so I'm on Amazon right now, and I'm on this Jack Black body lotion for men listing, doing about 80K, about 2,500 units the last 30 days. But you can see here, typically, this is a sold on Amazon by Amazon. So that's a 1P first party vendor central offering. Most of the time with those, the brand really doesn't care too much about merchandising or really even trying, because they're just selling it to Amazon and Amazon does whatever they want. But let's use this as an example for this video so I could show you exactly, if this was yours, what you'd want to do. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab the image here and I'm going to bring it into Canva. But before I go into Canva, I want to take a look at some value props. From this image, can I tell what the lotion looks like? No. Can I tell what the value prop is? How much does it weigh? How much ounces are inside of it? No. Can I tell where it's made? No. Can I even tell what it smells like? No. These are all questions that shoppers have, and you can merchandise it really, really well to get the click and have people understand exactly what they're clicking on. Because if you're running ads on this and someone likes it and they click on it, but they come down here and they're like, oh man, it's menthol smelling. I don't like menthol. That's gross. They're going to click away from it and you're not going to get the sale and your ad spend goes up. So let's make a better hero image. Let's hop into Canva. All right, guys, so we're in Canva right now. I'm just going to paste the image right here and make it bigger so it fits the space that we're working with. Perfect, right there. And you can see in Canva, the horizontal kind of purple lines, like right here in the middle, that's centered, and that's super centered. No, and that's centered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit duplicate page because I want a before and I want an after. So let's work on the after. So first thing you want to do whenever you're modifying any images or doing any post edits is remove the background. But pro tip, you see the shadow down here for the bottle. If I click remove background, it's going to remove that shadow and then the image is flat. So we don't want that. So let's go back. What I'm going to do is duplicate this and then do an overlay on top. You're going to see what I mean by that in a second. Watch this. So I'm going to duplicate this, line it up on top of itself there. And then the top layer, what I'm going to do is hit the background remover. And it's going to look like nothing happened. But when I go like this, you see how the one behind it wasn't touched and I removed the background on this one. That's exactly what we want. And I'm going to show you why. The one behind it over here, I'm going to bend this all the way down right until it's about to hit that shadow. I want to retain that shadow. So I'm going to go back over here and boom. So you see now the reason I did that is because I want to put elements behind it, but I still want to retain that shadow over there. So you see what we're doing here? Cool. So the reason I want to do that is because I want to give more transparency behind the bottle. So what I do is I get a smear, lotion smear. And what I will do is not graphics. I want to go to photos because I don't want a stylized kind of thing. I want a real image of lotion. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, John, it's a white background. The lotion's white. Don't worry about that. So it's going to go right on top, position, backwards. So now you see how we have that behind there. You can play around with a couple of different options with this. So if you don't like this one, there's a bunch down here. Just be careful when you're choosing one. Don't grab one that has a colored background, because even if you remove the background, it's going to keep that color inside of the lotion. So just be careful with that one. But I kind of think I almost like this one too. It's kind of interesting. So let's see how that looks. Position backward. I don't know. It's personal preference, but the goal of what we're trying to do is kind of the same. So I could even take this one and rotate it like this if I just wanted a different orientation. So let's say we do this. So now right away, we're giving more transparency, literally and figuratively, of what is inside the bottle. People might not know. It might come out green. It might be tan. These are important kind of things. So we've tackled showing the actual product. The next thing we want to do is we want to show any sort of ingredients or scents. So we understand from this that it's menthol. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to type in menthol and I'm going to get a leaf a menthol mint kind of leaf. So this is really, really good. So what I'm going to do here is see this. I'm going to hit remove background. This might not be a good one because it's probably going to remove the shadow, and it did. And I don't like that. You can still get away with it. So doing something like this would help. Not in love with it. So let's see. You can always do this kind of stuff, but it doesn't look authentic. There's a lot of brands that do this kind of thing. And what they'll do is just kind of have it like flying around. That's one thing. To me, it kind of looks like lettuce. I wouldn't do that. So it's a process. You gotta go around, take a look, take a little look-see in Canva. Canva has a ton of assets that you can go and kind of work with. So I do kind of like this one over here. Now remember, I took out the background on this one, so I can always hit that like this and do one of these. So to me, that's kind of interesting. So that's automatically telling me it's some kind of minty scent or anything like that. You go with what you think works. Now, what I want to do then is let me go back to the page. So I just want to see if the product was made in the US. I'm probably not going to get that information off of this one. Any kind of value prop I can get, I want to use. Yeah, typically these are not. So this is cooling. That's why there's the menthol. Okay, country of origin, USA. Now we have two more things we want to do for this. We want to do where it's made. This is something I always like to do because, especially if something's going on your skin, you're ingesting it, anything like that, people are a little bit more comfortable with stuff that's made in the US. I'm just going to use this one. This is kind of like my go-to one, but you really want to do one that works for you. Now you can go over here and do a little editing. So even if your label doesn't have it on there, what you can do is, let's say, for example, that 16 fluid ounces, that's super small. That's going to be the next thing we're going to tackle. Potentially, I don't need to put that there. So I can go ahead and remove that. And what I do is click on that product, hit edit, go to Magic Eraser, zoom in over here. Now what Magic Eraser does, it's basically like generative fill, kind of. It's going to see where I'm masking off and then replace it with everything that's around it. So there you go. Just basically got rid of that portion of it down there. If I wanted to, I can go ahead and put made in USA right there. Now you'll see that's a solid line. That means it's centered with the whole entire image. The dotted purple line means it's centered with this element that it's on right now. So for this example, we want to keep it centered with that. So if I zoom out over here, you can see made in USA. It might not be on brand. You might want to do something a little bit different. You don't have to use all these elements, but these are just good things kind of to do. What I tell people too is that you see how it's very bright compared to the rest of it. It looks like a post edit. What you can do is drill it down to like 80 or 85. So it looks a little bit more natural. And what you can do is go over here and type in wrinkle and grab this wrinkle kind of thing. You can't see it. You have to zoom back out. It's a giant wrinkle thing. The reason I tell people this is because when you're doing any sort of labels or anything like that, when you have this wrinkle, it just, you see how everything else kind of looks imperfect? You kind of want that. So this wrinkle gives it that little wave to it, right? So if I take it off, you can see that. If I put it on like that, it's wrinkle-roni. That's something very subtle, but when someone clicks on it, you know, it helps. And we're going to use that wrinkle again in a second, because now that we have this, the last thing we want to do is show the ounces. So we removed it, but I believe it was 16 ounces. 16 ounces. Now we're selling in the US. Milliliters really isn't that important, in my personal opinion. It's more along the lines of that. It's more along the lines of that ounces. So what we can do over here is go to elements and type in 16. And you can look for like a stamp like this right here, or you can look for, you know, really whatever's on brand for you and makes the most sense. Don't think just because I'm doing this that you have to do it. And you want to find an area to put it where it makes the most sense. Now, this bottle is completely open and I can put anything over here, but I'll show you two different ways you could do this. Let me zoom out over here. Let me duplicate this in Canva. Okay, so I have my original, this one. Let's do two different things. So for this one, what I'll do is I'll put it over here like this. I don't like that it's see-through on the background. So if you just hit C on your keyboard, it makes a circle. Then go here and you'll notice that it says photo colors. So you can pull colors from the photo. But what I like to do is hit this add new color rainbow icon, then hit the dropper, and then you could pick any color. So what I want to do is grab specifically the white inside that label, so it's a direct match. I'm going to go over here. You can see when you get both of those lined up, and that's when you know it's centered. And then I'm going to hit position and backwards. So now we have that. One kind of thing that you want to do is when you go to layers, these two right here, if you do Command Mac, I'm sure it is on I think it's Control on a PC, and select those two, you can hit group. So now they're grouped, so I can move it around. They're all going to move together. They're not going to change. I can go like this, and I can say, oh, well, actually, let me take a step back. So let me ungroup that. Let me click on this black one because I want to do the same thing I did with the color to make sure it's accurate, because the one I have right there is just black. I'm going to come down here to label and pull that color out of it. You see how that's a little bit more matchy, lack of a better term. So group that again, and we'll go over here like this. And I always like to zoom out and see what that kind of looks like, right? I'm kind of liking down here, right, where we can say 16 fluid ounces. And fluid ounces is, you could just typically write FLOZ. FLOZ. Now, spacing is super important for this kind of stuff. What I want to do is, first of all, I want to make that the same white color that we're working on with everything else. I want to make it bold, and then I want to hit the spacing, which is right here. There's no line spacing is if there was two lines, but I want to hit letter spacing and bring those in a little bit tighter, and then go back over here, bring this down like this, put that in there. Now you can see it's still a little too big, which is okay. Trial and error. That looks the best to me. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't like it because the 16 is centered, but the fluid ounces makes it look off center. What are we going to do? We're going to scrap it. Not this part. We'll keep this over here, but we're going to scrap this 16, right? So I'll keep this here for that background color, but then what I'm going to do is change it to darker color here. I'm going to bring the fluid ounces down here. Now I'm going to duplicate that because I want that same kind of font, and I'm going to just type in 16. Make this larger. You can see now we're closer to where we want to be for this kind of thing. What you can do also is once you get the text on the bottom where you want it to be, go ahead and group just those elements together. So position and then those group, and now they'll move together and they'll be centered. See, so that looks a little bit better. And we want to do the same thing with the wrinkle that we did over here, but the wrinkle is a rectangle square. So if I took the wrinkle out, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get it to wrap around the corners for this. So the only thing I'd be able to do is kind of like get it close to it. So you see, you can't do that. So the best thing to do for this is use it in a frame. So you just go here and type in frame, and frames are these kind of shapes over here that you just drop elements in. So I'm going to put a circle frame. I'm going to take my wrinkle and I'm going to drop it in my circle frame. So you can't really see that. You can see that kind of, right? So now we're going to bring this down, zoom in a little bit. Make sure you don't do that kind of stuff. Make sure that your wrinkle is on the top layer. So you see how it's not on the top. Now it's on the top. Do this, and then you want to get it where it's right over that. Do you see what we're doing there? Now it looks wrinkled. Now it looks like it's actually on there and all that kind of good stuff. What it looks like, what it smells like, where it's made, and the value prop clearer than it was before, because right now it's not too clear. Make sense? Okay, cool. This one, I told you I was going to do something a little bit different. So for this one, I'm not going to use that version, but what you can do, I don't know how well it's going to come out for something like this, is you can do a wrap at the top for dead pixel real estate space is kind of what I call it. I would do 16 fluid ounces. Can't see that until I fix the font. So this one is going to be that kind of whitish font. I just want to make sure that that's correct. So if you're ever second guessing yourself, click on that rainbow wheel again, the dropper, and then kind of hit that white. Yeah, that's the right one. What you can do is you can come to the cap over here and you can, let me zoom in. It's probably not going to work because this cap is pretty small, But what you can do is this, where, let me make it bold. You see that right there like that? See, when I look at it like this, it doesn't look as, I don't know, just looks a little bit weirder for me. Just want to show you this in case you ever want to try this yourself. So if you ever want to try and wrap text around something, you really can't. But what you can do is make it kind of look like it. So you could hit effects, let me move my head out the way, and then curve down here. So you see, as soon as I hit that, it's going to be curved. Now this is 0 curve. So if I just bend it a little bit, you see the difference? It kind of looks like it's curving with the bottle a little bit, right? To make it look a little bit more natural. Same thing with this. You want to just dull it a little bit for the transparency. So now you can read it that way as well. The fluid ounces, the fluid ounces side of it throws it off for me, in my opinion. I think that this is a better way to kind of tackle it. But again, I just wanted to show you that. Typically, you'll find with things that are like medicine or supplement bottles where you can bend the text around it. So supplement bottle. So here is a perfect example. If I was to write headache, I don't know, maybe this product helps with headaches, right? If I was to take headache, put it here like this, it looks like I just slap it on there. But if I take headache and I was to see how that looks a little bit better, just a slight curve helps it look like it's actually on the product over here. And there's a lot of other things that you can do with this. So maybe bolding it, another thing that you can do as well. If you hit effects and hit background, I don't know why it defaults to this yellow color, but you can keep it on brand for, whatever your brand is. So let's say the spread is how much it spreads out and the roundness is how sharp it is. So I always keep it a slight round and not a lot of spread, but the transparency is the big one. So something like this, maybe I'll increase spread a little bit, click back over here, change the font to white. So you can see now it's not perfect, but what it does is it looks a little bit better, like it's actually on the product itself. And again, transparency always helps with that to make it look like it's imperfect and all that kind of stuff. Make sense? Cool. So yeah, guys, that's how you can take a plain product on Amazon and make it a well-merchandised hero image to increase your CTR, your sales, all that kind of good stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm happy to do more Canva demos. I think Canva is a super powerful tool. If you have any questions, I run an agency that does this kind of stuff. It's called Aspie. What we do is we work with brands and sellers on Amazon and even agencies to strategize better for their hero images, because in reality, it does all start with the click. So if you have an image like this and you're not a well-known brand name, you're going to have problems with clicks. You're going to have problems with sales because a lot of the competition is doing best practice like this. It's important. It's important to merchandise for the click. Let me know what you guys think.